Stories unfold, thought-provoking, fresh and bold. From the mic to the movement we bring, conversations that matter, hear wisdom sing. Insight, purpose, food for the soul. This is the place where ideas grow. It's Trending Tuesday, tune in, stay ready. Inspiration served hot, calling mostly greens. With Chef Eddie, redefining podcast, changing the way we speak. Real talk, real life, every single week. Yeah. Organic living, mind and play, healthy conversations that elevate. From the kitchen to the culture we see, growth, wellness, and authenticity. Laugh, learn, and be entertained. Meaningful dialogue, never the same. If it's trending, if it's true, we're bringing it straight to you. It's Trending Tuesday, tune in, stay ready. Inspiration served hot, calling mostly greens. With Chef Eddie, redefining podcasts, changing the way we speak. Real talk, real life, every single week. Yeah. Sponsored by Danny Davis and Katie at TC, building community. Yeah. Inspiring change.
Relax.
Don't know it's on. You don't see it, you know it's on.
Audience tonight. Are we ready? All right. Welcome to Trending Tuesdays. Trending Tuesdays was a podcast. It's now what we call a showcast. And because we're featuring Chef Eddie tonight and Dr. Waugh, then you'll see the little setup that's not normally here, some food and things like that. But what we want to do at the top of our show, since we are Trending Tuesdays, for those of you who've been with us for the last couple of years, you know we normally have a host. And if trending is politics, then we talking politics. If trending is shows, we're talking shows. It's a few things trending, but since this is Nourish and Flourish, what do we call it, Lauren? The preview of Nourish and Flourish. Then tonight, this is going to be the second episode where we talk a little bit with the chef and about some things that he's doing. So we thought we'd do something kind of interesting. Come on over, Letitia. You know, y'all watch the news. So since we didn't have the news for you, we thought we'd have trending topics. What do you call them? Pop topics. Topics. These are things that you will realize and recognize in the news. We thought we'd go on and at least have a little conversation around them before we brought the chef on to talk about setting up for his meal tonight. Oh, you got your own mic. Okay, let's go.
So news to me. Okay, so Carmelo Anthony trial is trending. So the verdict was handed down June 9th. He was convicted and sentenced the same day. Carmelo Anthony, 19, was convicted of murder and sentenced to 35 years in prison for fatally stabbing 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a Frisco High School track meet in April of 2025. So the jury rejected his self-defense claims. He is eligible for parole after serving half of that sentence. On the flip side of that, we had a trial out of South Carolina, in Columbia, South Carolina, where Rick Chow, a 61-year-old Asian convenience store owner, shot and killed a 14-year-old Cyrus Carmick Belton in the back during a foot chase. He chased this boy for 135 yards before firing. And he was acquitted on June 1st, and they accepted his defense of self-defense. Okay, so the next thing that is trending is we have FIFA. Okay, so France kicked off the day with a 3-1 win over Senegal. And Mbappe actually surpassed Messi in World Cup career scoring goal. He became France's all-time leading scorer. So tonight, defending champs Argentina face Algeria in Kansas City. Kansas City, whoop, whoop. Oh, okay. Well,
she's from Kansas City, yeah.
And Messi is looking to avoid another World Cup opening upset. So This is the big picture is this is an expanded 48-team tournament with 104 total matches across 16 cities. Houston is one. H-Town.
FIFA.
Okay, FIFA. The knockout stage begins June 28th, and Norway's, Holland, and U.S. teams are also the ones to watch. Okay, the New York Knicks are NBA champions.
Yay.
Okay, woo!
No
53
Knicks fans?
years.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
San Antonio, yeah, okay.
Okay, and there's talk that Spike Lee deserves a championship ring.
Of his
I don't
own.
know
Of his
how I feel
own.
about that. But they did beat San Antonio Spurs 4-1 in the NBA Finals, and the Knicks came in as a 3 seed and went all the way. So just because you haven't done it for 52 years doesn't mean that 53rd year, you might be able to get it. So, so we have a holiday this Friday coming up, Juneteenth, which is right around the corner. So 2026 marks the 5th anniversary of Juneteenth becoming a federal holiday, a milestone that feels especially significant right now because of all the ongoing debates about Black history and the different things that are going on in the courts. So the holiday commemorates June 19th, 1865, when the Union troops arrived in Galveston, Texas, and informed enslaved Black Americans that they were free, more than 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. Okay, so if you are in town, we do have an event that we would like for you to attend, and to know more about the event, I have Chelsea.
Hey.
We are super excited about this Friday's event that we are hosting here at this beautiful showroom. We have pop-up Kay's Closet, so we will be thrifting. We have pop-up line dance tutorials. We have pop-up showroom tours. We have a little bit of Chef Eddie with Nourish and Flourish, a little bit of podcast, but we will be celebrating Black excellence. And this is the place to be, rain or shine. Other people are having issues with the weather. We're awesome. We're already inside. So make sure that, and if you are interested and you really are interested in figuring out how to be a part of it, come see me after, and I can talk about the different roles. We have a lot going on. It's going to be exciting. From 9 to 1 p.m. here, Juneteenth, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And there's something happening that entire time. All right?
Right
Yes.
on cue.
Yes?
I thought I had a slide, but I guess I didn't have a slide, huh, Avery?
Oh, do we have
Did I have a
slides?
slide? I did. Oh, I couldn't tell. Okay. All right. Thank you, dear. All right. There you go. This girl, she was telling the news, y'all. She's auditioning as a news girl. No, we literally had the first two, I guess, the issues, stories that we brought about. And she just said them real straight-faced. But as you know, we're all upset about all of the stuff, and we know that, my God is not marked, whatever, you reap, you sow. And we know that there's an appeals process, and we know that, what you sow, you reap. Is that right? Okay. All right, so, and that's all we're going to say about that. It's not, we're not that kind of show necessarily, but we do want you to know that we are aware and we're woke. Okay, that's that thing. Now, Dr. Waugh is going to come up, but first what we thought we'd do is introduce, this is episode 2, Nourish and Flourish. And I don't know, Evan's got some lemon juice over there and some olive oil and things like that. But he's doing his salad tonight. I want you to tell us about your famous salad, your root salad that you have that's underway in the back. And if you can walk them just through it, because what we're going to do is let him show you some things that's the ingredients and all of that, and then we're going to let him go back and we'll do the salad, and then we're going to have Dr. Wall come up and talk to you about, this month is Men's Health Month.
It is.
Right? And he's an expert in a whole lot of ways, and so we're going to let him have some things to tell you and share while we wait on our salad and other things. Okay, Mr. Chef Eddie?
I ain't got a mic. I'm hot, yeah.
There you go. Oh, you have a mic. Oh, my bad.
Hey, everybody in here and online, thank you for moment of your time. Do what I can to promote and push health and wellness. Yeah, health and wellness. I'm probably too close to health and wellness. From my years of exposure and experience, and I must say that my cup is half full, certainly not half empty. So anyway, tonight's concoction of items are all going to be the base for the soup, and that base for that soup is a turkey neck soup. Some of you may have had it. I do it 3 or 4 times a year here, and I try to capture all the seasonal root herbs that I can get my hands on. This particular season, I was able to get a hold of some organic parsley root, and they are the parsley you see all the time when we use the tops, but when the roots are about 4 years old, then they begin to grow into like a small baby carrot, and they say the sweet root but bitter tops. So when the parsley is edible, the tops are edible, they're decent, but then all the sweetness and everything goes into the root, and it's totally game changer in terms of what you're experiencing for a root vegetable. I got some poblano peppers here and some mild yellow peppers. Got some organic French green beans, just been washed and prepped and ready to go. Some more regular parsley. And then we've got some kale, organic kale is going to go in there. And we have our turnip root and rutabaga. And of course, lots of thyme, ginger. Oh my God, every herb on the planet, sage. Everything we can do to make the turkey pop, as you'll see. So what I did is I prepared somewhat of a olive oil tasting for you guys, so you can get the palate used to what the body's used to in terms of healing going down. Some say it's acquired taste, kind of like Lauren's going to pass some samples out to you guys. I put a little splash of lemon in it, and a little piece of parsley in there to help with your palate, so you can get it down just to swallow. This is the one of the many ones I recommend. This is Partana. It is a very robust olive oil. You guys could see it's a very robust olive oil from the region of Italy. There's an Italian flag. Oh, you swallow the whole thing down. Chug. Yeah. It's better for you than castor oil ever was. Remember castor oil?
Get those faces.
You got it. I want to see your. Oh, she's giving out more. Oh, she's passing out more.
Pastor, why are you hiding?
Okay, well,
The pastor said, you're not going to give him no olive oil and expect him to. Lauren, you got your folk up here at the front. Vanna.
come on, man.
They said they did not agree to sit up at the front, Lauren. So you got your people who agreed for the punishment.
Nobody else?
Who said that? Oh, look at that. Okay,
Yeah.
we have to pull you up to the front. Somebody said, who said that?
Wait.
You forgot your people who actually agreed to do the punishment. These other people said they just came to watch. They really?
That's it.
Yeah, what's in that cup, Edwin? Chef Eddie, what's in that cup?
The cup is
Olive oil,
yeah.
lemon juice, and what else?
A little bit of parsley.
And parsley.
Yeah. Preparing your palate.
It's forced.
Preparing your
It's like
palate.
people say, voluntold. It's voluntold.
Get done, yeah.
Pastor's not gonna do it. You gonna do it, Pastor? Look at Pastor. Pastor's not gonna do it. Look at. Okay, Nelson, y'all. We got some newbies tonight, and see, look. Okay, now it's interesting now. Okay, now James said he liked it. It's pretty good. She done turned it up. Look at Chelsea.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
But I want you to I want to So I want you to, can you walk them through
Thank you.
your salad? Because I need to get you to the back so you can get your stuff in the oven.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
3 more.
All right. Now, what was the,
Yeah, that's fine. I'll get it. That's fine.
that was olive oil, right?
3 more.
Now, how many of y'all that didn't like the taste of my, who eats, y'all eat, look at, he's still laughing.
David, I didn't see your cup.
Oh,
Yeah, where's
okay.
your cup?
Is it, oh, that's him. Give me a cup. I'm good, that's it.
Miss Vicky, Letitia, Rufus,
Yeah. Well, we're all in this together.
audience participation.
We've toasted some of the most worst wines and other liquors.
Well, we add,
But some of the
we literally cook with this stuff, so I put it in everything, so,
of all the occasions.
yeah, it's good for you.
Yeah, all the
saying?
occasions we had.
Plus, I was raised by a grandmother.
All the occasions we
So-
ever toasted, you know. I mean,
You may have had to, like, take this to help you out in other ways.
Is that virgin olive oil?
extra version.
It's extra version. That was good. Good for you. You feel
the
it going
high
down?
one?
It's cleansing. Chef, I want you to please come and share, because I want, what you trying to give it to? You trying to pass something? Everybody, he said everybody.
Over there hiding. But yeah, so all the things we've ever toasted in our life, and all the drinks we've ever had,
Oh, he's saying with toast.
you can't think of a better toast for men's health. I mean, if we don't make it, the rest of the family's in trouble. So there's nothing like something to actually toast something that's really good for you. Good for the palate, but yet ultimately good for the whole body, and that's what we really want. I want to get that forward taste out of it for you, and let your palate get used to it, and let it heal going down, and then ultimately, next couple days, few days from now, you'll be like, I kind of want some more. You know, it's
So why olive oil, Chef? I mean, just real quickly, why olive oil versus canola? Just give them a little bit, because I want you to introduce so we can get these in the oven.
yeah.
Let's tell them a little bit about why olive oil. I want them to talk a little bit, just a little bit about olive oil.
It's a biblical thing. It certainly goes back to pre-Christ visit here. It is a healing herb. It's a healing fruit. I guess you would call it a fruit.
Mix them up.
It has an antioxidant powerhouse full of nutrients. It's loaded with all sorts of omegas and has all the trace minerals in it that you need for the body. It heals your gut flora. It actually gets to your joints. It helps with your prostate. It's just all encompassing superfood in every way, and it's so special. It's got to be kept in somewhat dark, shaded containers once it's been, pulled and liquefied. And when you cook with it, you can't get it too hot. You can't get it to that flash point. If you get to that flash point, then it gets lots of toxic gas and actually becomes harmful, kind of like the canary in the coal mine. But anything less than that flash point is ideal for sauteing just about everything that you want to put some heat on things. You want to kill the fungi, kill the bugs, kill anything you can't see with the naked eye. Then the olive oil will allow you to do that, but yet still retain the nutrients in whatever it is you're cooking.
What would be the flash point?
Frying.
Smoke.
That's
Smoke.
right.
Over 450?
Smoke. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when it starts smoking, the smoking running out the house, and that was a flash.
And the smoke is black.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't fry with it.
Yeah, you know, fry with
Pan
it.
saute, but not fry.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask him.
Because we use a gas stove, so I don't have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dial like I do on an electric stove. So I'm just looking at the heat and playing with it as I go.
Yeah. When they talk about olive oil versus like canola, we don't do a lot of frying, but if you were going to fry, you would look for something like that can take that heat and not release things that were not good for you. So I guess you can talk a little bit. What is the other oil? Mostly he uses olive oil, you know?
Yeah, mostly olive oil, canola, avocado,
Avocado a little.
coconut. It seems like they're pulling oil out of everything. Every grain you wouldn't believe had oil in it. I actually have a seed oil extraction unit back there that I just began to play with. So I'm able to roast my overgrown okra pods, pull the seeds out, roast them, and then this machine will grind them and extract the oil, just kind of like you see it. Some of the, Whole Foods, Central Markets, some of the other stores where you go and get your peanut oil, they have put the peanuts on top, and it comes out, so you get the oil and all that. So that's one way of doing it, but so then therefore that's why all the other grains, all the other nuts are available, but each of them have their own purpose and poise in the body. And one reference point that I use for that purpose and poise for the body is Dr. Peter D'Adamo, The Blood Type Diet. I'm going to get him here, and he's going to teach a class one day. At least sign some of his books. But anyway, he breaks down all the superfoods, all the foods that are commonly available to us today. And he doesn't go into the foods that, has been extinct and stuff. So, but he covers most of them, and those aren't covered. They're more fine-tuned on his website. So any ones you haven't had, someone somehow have already put out the word on it that it bothered their ecosystem or their immune system one way or the other, and to kind of stay away from it. The whole idea is to, he breaks it down on things that are highly beneficial for you, things that are neutral, and things that you must avoid, and all those items, all those food group items, from meats, legumes, to vegetables, to breads and desserts, condiments, all broken down in the blood type, and it starts with blood type O, which is the mother and father of all the other blood types. O is the only one that can donate to the other blood types. We think O stands for original, but it stands for so many other acronyms. And then after blood type O popped up on the scene, then blood type B popped up on the scene, and Bs are considered the nomads. Blood type Os are the original hunter-gatherers. They're the ones that hunted the food in the Saharan African regions with spears and really were hunter-gatherers. Blood type B is the nomads. They call those the wanderers, because as the tribal infighting happened and climatic changes happened and food sources got scarce, they had to spread out and move, and as they had to move, the Lord Almighty had to mutate their blood type to change so that they could eat the foods and the things that were available in the region where they were at. And it's still heavily to this day in Eurasia. After blood type B popped up, then blood type A popped up. A stands for Algarian, and Algarian is pretty much a vegetarian-based diet. They can eat just about all nuts and grains. Some they're supposed to avoid, but they have a rather weak immune system. They have a very poor cancer autoimmune issue that they have to deal with. So they have to eat a lot of the different superfoods to keep their immunes high, so they have a fighting chance when cancers come into them. Then after blood type A, then blood type AB popped up on the scene, which is a blend of A and B, and sometimes it acts as one and it acts as the other at different given times, different given stresses happen. The book is pretty amazing. It talks about how we deal with stress and the different things we need in our exercise, as well as our diet and rest and all those different components. The whole person is kind of covered through the human genome. And that human genome is even further enhanced by some of his more recent clinical studies and trials. They go into more depth about the human genome and the live right for your type. And they're going through some unique cancers, and they talk more about the sequencing of the genes, like NQH5, 7. It's just one tag. There's so many different denotions of the human genome that they only have cracked. The last time I got word of it was like 27 genes they were able to crack. There's thousands. I really realize there's literally thousands of the human genome they haven't even begun to discover yet. So far they're on the first 27 or so. So nonetheless, it is a great reference. It is what I base a lot of my meals on. So some of the meals you may recognize, they were hits for all the blood types. So I try to find some meal or some meal planning until I can identify more from you guys which blood type you are, and then I could prepare a meal plan just for you based on that blood type. It's pretty amazing.
Chef. All right. With that, for now, can you share, because what we wanted to do was get these in the oven, and then Vanna, over there, these are my, yeah, everybody, you have to know the show, right?
Yeah.
To know who Vanna is. And then our helpers, I think there was one thing that they could still cut. But can you walk us through, this is what, beets and sweets?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we're going to ask you to let him take that back to the back so that they can just put them in the oven. And he says they only take like 3 minutes or so to cook. And then we're going to bring up Dr. Wall and let him do his thing. So you want to share? This is for your beets and sweets?
These are purple, organic purple sweet potatoes. They're white but purple on the outside. Have a unique characteristic profile, and then I did the golden beets as well.
So
you
let
can
Vanna
show
do
them.
her thing.
You can kind of show them. I like to go with the darker root vegetables, just like you go with the darker vegetables.
Down to black.
They said Vanna, bring it closer so they can see.
There is a nutritional profile that all of the sweet potatoes have, just like all of the leafy greens have. If you tend to stick with the darker the berry, the sweeter the vine kind of mentality, then you'll be well off. There's all your nutrients lie.
Here's Mr. Vanna.
So-
What does James have?
Yeah. So James has the beet leaves from beets.
Okay, you're gonna share.
We're gonna blend
It's Mr. Vanna.
organic beet leaves, of course, and we're gonna blend those in with the spinach, and then you're gonna get the spinach and the beet leaves with the hot roasted sweet potatoes and beets on the salad with the Dijon mustard base. And if I have time, I'll do another of the arugula with the tuna salad, but most of my energy is going to be in the soup and getting it staged so I can get you guys something hot on a rainy, weird, inclement weather day.
Thank you, James.
All right.
I think the only thing that was left, Chef, we're going to let you take your stuff back.
We also have some
go
infused water. We got rosemary water today and purple okra water growing from my garden. I didn't grow the rosemary, but I do have some babies that's growing, so hopefully next time it'll be ready. And I've used for the water base the Evian spring water, so it's not tap water. So the rice is ready, and once I get this, the turkey necks finished, then I'll finish the root vegetables, and then we'll tear it up.
Okay, anybody before we bring up Dr. Wall would like some water? We're going to have the other Mr. Vanna. Thank you, sweetheart. He's going to go back to the back and finish doing his thing. So if anybody wants water, not you, you're supposed to share it with the, he fixed himself a glass of water. Okay. Vanna Jr., okay.
Yeah, just
Okay,
yeah, just, you know,
Would y'all please let
you got to give one of
Mr.
each.
Vanna,
Actually, which one do they care for? Either one.
better known as Willie, let him know if anybody wants any water and which water you want.
Took any leaves
Willie,
over
if
here
you,
so I can remember.
y'all kind of help us out. You've got okra.
Yeah, right there. I need
Both of them are
leaves.
okra. This is the red okra.
Vegetables over here because I'll forget.
And then he's got the,
That's the rosemary.
you can see it, yeah.
Let me do the rosemary.
Yeah, you can give everybody, you give them the cups and you give them the water.
Appreciate it.
And with that, with your water, Dr. Wall, you want to come up?
Indeed.
And let's introduce you. Miss Bree, would you like to introduce your husband? Okay. I want you guys to meet some really cool people. Y'all been seeing them around. They've been to a lot of the Trending Tuesdays because they're cool like that, and they support their community, but they're both geniuses in their own right. And we thought tonight being Men's Month, and some of the cool things that they just do, he'd be the perfect person to talk to you guys. But I'm gonna let his wife introduce him, and then we can let him tell you a little bit about what he does. You see, he's got his stuff on. You know what I'm saying? He's a doctor of physical therapy, so y'all, he knows what he's talking about. Okay, here you go.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Okay, that's a little bit better. Thank y'all. So I want to introduce my beautiful husband here, Dr. Tim Waugh. I'm not going to embarrass you and say your middle name.
know, that's not an embarrassment, it's just different.
Okay. Anyway, he has a good Catholic name. But anyway, my husband has been a doctor of physical therapy for what, over 30 years, 34 years, 35?
34. Yeah,
34 years. He is a graduate of FAMU, the Rattlers.
What the hell now?
He is also an Alpha, you know, what is it?
Alpha Phi Alpha.
Alpha Phi Alpha. Fraternity.
Incorporated.
Yes. He's also an alpha
Safe.
male.
06. 06 in the house.
Real quick story. We used to date back in high school, and we reconnected in 2023. He slipped in my DMs, y'all, on in LinkedIn. But here's the story. My mom introduced us, and I was 15, he was 17, and she said, "That's your husband. You're going to marry him one day." And what, 30 years later, 40 years later, here it is. We got married in April 5th of 2025. And he is an amazing person. He's very smart, and I'm not just saying that because he's my husband. That was one of the things that attracted me to him. But I'm very proud of him for what he's doing, and he has some great knowledge of what he's going to share with you guys tonight for Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. So without further ado, Dr. Tim Waugh, AKA my husband.
Gonna hold that?
He's got his own mic.
So I just want to start off by saying that that's the first time I've actually had a olive oil shot with lemon. No, it actually wasn't pretty bad. You know, it was pretty good. But one thing about that, since Chef Eddie spoke on so eloquently about olive oil, it actually was pretty good. It does work pretty good for those that might have snoring issues. So he didn't mention that. So it does help reduce some of the snoring if you do happen to use a shot of olive oil. It'll coat your throat, and it'll help with some of the vibration so you don't snore at night. But that was just a pretty good taste, going down. So I'm like, well, I might want to try that. But at any rate, welcome to everyone on Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. This is probably a topic that is, it's been a long time. It's something that is really necessary for not only those on YouTube, but everywhere else. And why is that? I say that because when it comes down to men's mental health, it's not really talked about very well. We don't really go into depth about what does it mean with men's mental health. Give an example. This coming up weekend is Father's Day. So for those men, I want to wish you all a happy Father's Day for those that are fathers. So just want to give that shout out. But that in itself, just to start off with, when you think about Father's Day, how many restaurants can you go into easily? No reservations. You can just get in, do what you got to do, and get out. But Mother's Day, you got to put a little bit of reservation and effort in, okay? Not trying to compare, but I'm just pointing out that when you start really dealing with men or men's mental health, it's not really looked at in a sense of importance. So I want to point out that it is. And anytime that a man is dealing with something, don't let it just consume you. Let it come to some degree to actually get a chance to talk to somebody. So that's really the biggest piece of it. But why is it so necessary to really bring this up? So let's talk about something that's very startling. So the CDC, according to the CDC, 80% of all suicides are by men. Okay, let's just start with that. Okay, that's horrible. Why are some of these reasons for that? Well, there's that one reason specifically. What does it mean to be successful? So, as it may come across, success means a lot of things. Everybody thinks of one thing versus another. Another man's treasure is another man's trash, and vice versa. But the biggest thing is, what does it really mean to be successful? Well, failure is part of success. You can't really just be 100%. But the issue is that success comes with failure. So if you don't have that support system, if you don't have someone to talk to, you don't have a mentor, you don't have anything but you're just riding through to do what you got to do, men have a hard time sometimes having to really identify how to get over that hump. That hump tends to cause men to think a little bit more about why are we not doing, and we start doing things that aren't really healthy. So Chef Eddie just talked about all of this food and how great this food is. Well, food is actually medicine. Hippocrates said that. So we don't necessarily do the things that we need to do, like going to the doctor. We don't go to the doctor. We often tend to self-medicate when we're having a depressed moment. What is depression? How do we actually deal with depression? There's a plethora of things, but one main thing that I would have to say that we often take advantage of, but we often are looked at to take care of, is risk managing. Men tend to risk manage. All right, let me expand on that. So anytime that a question comes up, you've heard the so-called protect and provide. Well, that's part of that. When we happen to get a problem, what do we normally do? Look for a solution. So that problem solution is the risk. Is that decision the best decision? Or if it's a decision that's not the best decision, did it happen to come with a problem? And how do we deal with that? How do we make it up? How do we get around that? So it does get into a mindset of how do we actually manage that, which gets back into the risk. So we tend to do that. Oftentimes that's not always thought about. We do a lot of risk, and that's how it comes across in the wrong way. Anytime that we do something, we, unfortunately, talking about my wife here, she sometimes wonders, why do I do and why did I do that? So it's not that I'm just doing something that makes no sense. It just doesn't appear at that moment to make sense until it completely goes through the entire paradigm of what I'm trying to get to. So that piece of the end product is not necessarily always the game, it's what's in between, okay? So I have a quote. My biggest quote is, a little work doesn't necessarily hurt you, but it's stressing over that work that can kill you. So it's that stress management. What do we do about stress management? Well, we often get into a bubble and we don't think about where we need to go with it. So that's one aspect. But what else is the bigger piece of that suicide? Relationships. So within relationships, that is a big deal to men. You may not think about it. We may not showcase the emotion. We may not even give the emotion. But we have the emotion. We do want that relationship. Most of it is how often do you really look at how men deal with relationships? We may go to the bar. We may shut down. We may stay outside and actually wait before we come in. There are a lot of coping mechanisms. But the most important thing is that dealing with a relationship, coping with that relationship, it matters who you have. So I wrote a book called The 3-Day Getaway, a fun platform of couples communication. Why is that important? Well, I wrote that, and the mission was to really work on having two individuals that were seriously looking at being together to actually go away, 3 days, just 3 days. You can be 4, you can modify it, but mainly it's 3 days to get away and then actually learn about each other. Find out what each person likes. What is it about that person as you're building, and when it all gets together, you actually take those 3 days, you write it down, and then you find out what it means to be accountable. What does it mean to be responsible? And a big one, how do you become transparent? And I'm going to kind of take a step back. One of the things that I hear often on social media is the concept, you can't be too vulnerable. Well, here's the problem. We can stay strong looking, but in the inside, we might be soft. I think that's a Twinkie or something, one of those, cupcakes or something. It may not seem like, inside we're hurting, but we are at times. So it goes back to, have you actually asked that question, how are you doing? That's one of the things that we often do is, how are you doing? How was your day? I mean, something as simple as that makes a huge difference. But going back to the methodology of the book, it's just setting up a structure of, like I said, accountability, responsibility, and especially transparency for two people to really figure out why they like each other so that they can create love. And that's just the bottom line. I mean, because we don't really talk about methodology of passing down how to maintain a relationship. We talk about how to get together. We know how to do that. But when it comes down to a men's mental health, the pressure of how to support, how to make sure that what they're doing is enough. Are they getting enough feedback? If they're not getting the feedback, then what is it that they're not doing right? Why aren't we doing it right? Well, how do we do it right? That's a lot of questions. That's a lot of pressure. And the pressure is what builds up. How do we release it? Again, back to, we might go to the bar. We might happen to get with the guys. It might be a lot of things that we may do, but specifically, how we actually handle that is not always healthy. So that brings it back to how we look at health. Once again, going back to what Chef Eddie was talking about with food, one of the things that when it's all said and done about, and I'm not sure if everyone understands what a blue zone is. Has anyone heard of what that is? Blue zone? Okay. So blue zones are where that's the highest concentration of 100-year-old people in the world. Okay. Okinawa is like, I believe that was the very first one that was found. Okay. What's so important about these particular areas, and besides the fact that being a physical therapist, the common denominator of all of them is physical fitness, physical health. They all climb mountains and walk up hills, and they're always active, dancing, doing something. But that's not the big piece. The biggest piece is that there's a social aspect that they all utilize to actually work with. So in human nature, we're built to be with someone, okay? I think Prince put it best, we want to be somebody's somebody, okay? So it's important that we look at what is it that we're trying to achieve within that somebody's somebody. It's not wrong to have to say that you want that person. It's only wrong when you think that that person doesn't want you and you're just forcing it. That's a problem. So, but back to the men's standpoint, how often do we think about that? Men are always, and show of hands, tell me if I'm wrong, but men are always wondering, did I do it right? Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Okay. So that's a huge piece of being a man. What did I do right? What did I do wrong? And when am I doing it in which it may be criticized, which is another piece when it comes down to the suicide rate. That criticism, okay, how do you tell someone or tell a man you did it wrong without it coming across the wrong way? We talked about this weekend about something called tone, topic, and truth. 3 triggers in a relationship, okay? And tone, tell me if I'm wrong, tone is the first thing that hits everybody's ears. How you said it, and forget the topic. That, boom. We as men tend to roar when we get passionate. Okay, that's our emotion, by the way. That's our emotion. When we are, well, that's our passion. Okay? But we sometimes have to dial it down because we want to be heard. But the question is, did we get heard? So that's, again, that piece. Where are we on that conversation? How are we actually dealing, or how are we working through this particular topic as it relates to what is it that is the truth, to where we can actually now deal with the problem so that we can move on? That's somewhat of a cycle, that tone, topic, and truth. But to be honest, if we all just learn to just take a breath and deal with what it is that's the problem, we'd all have a huge difference as it relates to what our problems, what's going on internally, and that's both ways, to women and men. It's not just to men, but since we're talking about men, we need that encouragement. We need that support. We need to be given that higher up. We need that cheerleader. It may not seem like it, but think about it. Cheerleaders, that's a $1 million industry. For whom? NFL, NBA, I don't know if they do it with the MLB, but the point is that they got people over there with something, you know, a little short skirt and somebody talking about go, go, go. Hey, I don't know about you, but, you know, as a man, you know, you start talking about 2025, you know, you may be focused, but you see somebody over there jumping around in a short skirt, it's like, okay, all right, I'm ready. So that's the thing. It's that cheerleading that we do want. We do need. We ask for it in different ways, but we do need it. And it's just very obvious. If you can see it work for the NFL, if you can see it work for the NBA, dancing girls and all that, why don't you think it happens or it can't happen at home? You know, it's just those things, you know, that we do crave, but oftentimes because that voice of, I really want that, may not be really received well. So that's something that, you know, it's a two-way situation. We can be strong, we can protect, we can provide, we can do all these things, all these great things, and be this force as it really relates to what are the things that are necessary. But what's the outcome? To what avail? What did we get out of it once we put it in? There's something called ROI, return on investment. Not just necessarily money, but time. Investment is a time situation. It can be money. It can be a lot of things. But the main thing is, what are we receiving when we do give? So it's important to know that men do feel. We do feel. We want to know from your experience, our partners, what did it look like? What did it feel like? How was it? And we want that objective response, but we want you to know that we do have a feeling too. So we don't want to just be thrown into the wolves of, that was terrible. Okay, why? Let me know. You know, let us know. Let us know. So with all that being said, okay, the biggest piece of mental health or men's mental health is knowing who you have, understanding who you're with, knowing that you do have a voice, understanding that they do have feelings, realizing that they may not tell you their feelings because there may not be a safe space, which, by the way, is part of the book. That's one of the areas that I really focus on, that safe space. And understanding that if you don't have to necessarily do it like I do in the book, but find a way to create that safe space for that ability to communicate so that both can be heard, so that there's at least less stress reduced in the household. There's nothing wrong with having a problem. It's only a problem if you don't know how to handle that problem. So keep that in mind.
Okay. Did y'all like that? It's good, right? You did get the tax bringing back up.
So basically, my book, The 3-Day Getaway, fun platform for couples communication. It's really an interesting journey. It speaks from the beginning and to the end of what a 3-day representative time would look like. Everybody can modify, it's extremely modifiable. But the most important piece of it is that it gives you certain hints, or it gives you certain things that you can work with. It also has a workbook. So it does come, not necessarily come, but you have to get that separately. But the most important thing is that there's things in the back that are references, and ultimately the goal is, and I've said this many times in different angles, but the idea is for couples to come together so that we can create a stronger union and community, so we don't find ourselves having to question why we're going extinct.
Right. And that he and Bree talked to me about having that a couples retreat and doing it here. That was one of the things that came up. They then, like I said, they come and they hang out and we talk, and then we talk about all kinds of things here. For those of you, along with my brother, you guys, we got some our regulars here, but we have some new folk tonight, so they can kind of see what it's like to be a Trending Tuesday or a TT, I guess. They were telling me what have you, but that was one of the things that they mentioned, and it may be something that we would explore as we go through. Now, Avery, we're gonna let them know what we've been doing as far as, but I want to do questions.
It's on Amazon, yes. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there questions? That's the other thing. I want to do that real quick and see if y'all got questions for him.
Back up.
Any?
Back up.
Anything? Okay, they understood that real well. So
Well, real, like I said, let me just reiterate, it is on Amazon right now. Both the workbook and the book, they're sold separately. So you don't necessarily have to get the workbook, but the workbook makes it very convenient to follow along. So, but definitely if you have any questions, please, by all means. Yes.
Why do you think men are told not to cry?
So again, it goes back to society. Society tends to create this image, this tough guy, if you will, that we have to follow. And somewhere, I can't tell you when or where. I mean, you can even go back to biblical days. You know, there wasn't a lot of crying going on. I mean, there were some crying, but wasn't a lot of crying going on. So that wasn't really a focus of how men dealt with their emotions. They just basically were told, do it. We might have cried and said, I don't want to do it, but we did it anyway, okay? Or we found a way to deal with it. So crying is not an emotion for men as much as it may be for women. So not saying that men don't cry. I'm not saying that. But what I am pointing out is you normally don't hear that as it relates to a man's handling of emotion.
okay. Pastor, you got a word? Vicky, you got a question? Vicky has a question back there.
No, I was asking the platform about purchase it on. You already covered that.
Okay, that was your question? Vicky has a question, and James has a question. Hey, James.
Okay, my question is, since it's Men's Health Month, and I'm seeing a lot of younger men who are really struggling, and they're having ideation, thoughts, and things like this that I've never heard before. And even, you know, it concerns me because I have a son who's about to turn 32. And sometimes he gets in those depressive modes and he's trying to handle it all by himself. Is there any type of mentoring or is there any type of help that you know of that these men can get or somewhere somebody can go so that they don't get to that point where they're just all by themselves and think they have to handle it all by themselves?
So when you're talking about mentoring and you're talking about why we're where we are today, most of the last, this is 2026, the last 20 years, we have been inundated, and if we're talking 20, he would have been something like 16 or high schoolish to some degree. We were hit with this thing called the internet. The internet has opened up so many different directions to where we have lost the focus of what it really means to be kind of focused and laser pointed. It used to be we had the Dewey Decimal System. Now you can .pdf and find just about any book you want. So we have lost, or we're losing, let me rephrase, we haven't really lost it, but we're losing this thing about what is it that we as individuals have decided where we need to go with how we need to do things. So people most of the time when they're looking for a mentor, you always have the church. You can always look at that. But if you're not that person that wants to be religious, then there are other organizations. You know, getting involved with any organization that has a positive outcome gives a sense of a structure, but it also promotes a purpose. One of the things that we have lost is purposeful engagement. So when we are doing something purposeful, we find that we actually have self-worth. So self-worth, purpose, the idea of where we're trying to go, if we have an idea of what we want to do, then chances are depression is behind because we don't have time for depression. But when you do have something that you're not sure of, you know, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. The more you're not doing something that is directed in something that you're good at or you're not able to look at and say, I don't want to do, but I like doing or I love doing or I'm passionate of doing, then normally depression is not a conversation. So it's really redirecting to say, okay, well, what do you want to do and how do you want to do it? And just letting him discover. Now, you're talking 36, there should have been something he should have said, hey, I want to do that. And if he wants to do that, let him try. If it's positive, let him try. And that's the thing. Failure can result into success. It may start with one, but wind up doing something else. So that's why I point out that failure is not the end goal. Success occurs because you may have to do one or another or another or another. It took Heinz, the guy from Heinz, to make that formula that I don't know how many people eat it, or use it as a condiment, but it took him 57 times before he actually got the winning recipe. So if it took him 57 times, how many times is he really willing to continue? He has to have perseverance, and that's it. Yeah.
I just want to say, I've been in ministry now for 34 years, been pastoring 11 years. And what I've come to realize is that men are not taught to cry long before they become an adult. Because biblically speaking, women were the nurturers of the family. Men were the authoritative figure in the family. And it still bodes true today. If a man sees his son fall off a bicycle, he's going to let him get up and get back on. But that mother that sees her son fall will run. And at that point, he usually tells her, leave him alone. And so we've been taught to swallow our emotions, or to, in a better term, suck it up. And so when we become adults, then we don't know how to emote, because we've been taught all of our life not to emote. And several years ago, Kevin Love, the basketball player for Cleveland Cavaliers, took a leave of absence because of mental health. And that kind of triggered a whole lot of people to talk about men's mental health. It wasn't that it was never prevalent, it was just a light was not shined on it. And because now that the light is being shined on it, you have athletes, you have doctors, you have all types of people that have come forward now saying that they struggle with mental health. And because of that, even in the African American community, we're not taught to go to seek counsel. No, you don't go and tell a psychiatrist your problems, because what happens in the house stays in the house, which is one of the biggest misnomers in the family. No, sometimes I can't talk to you. Sometimes I can't talk to her. I gotta have a safe space where I can go and talk and tell somebody exactly how I'm feeling, and not, watch this, be judged for it. Yeah.
Well, I want to add to that. I think judgment, is probably the biggest stressor when it deals with what is the problem, and especially in your home. So, and I speak on this about, making sure that everybody knows what is exactly the terms of the policy of the home. What does that mean? We go to work and we know that there's a policy and a procedure. Yeah. We know what it all means. If something happens, we know where we got to go on the manual, figure it out, But I want to know how many people actually have that manual at home. So we don't necessarily take inventory, about what is a way to deal with this problem. The toilet, all of a sudden breaks. Well, what's the first thing you do? You need to go take care of the toilet. That's pretty much the first and foremost policy. Go fix the toilet. Okay. And right there, what do I need to do? How do I need to do that? What, you've never dealt with a toilet. What do you do? Right, I'm not a plumber. I'm like, well, you know, what do I do? You know, I don't know what to do. I need to call somebody, you know. So, but the point is that the perception is fix it, you know. And what do you do about that? Well, it depends on you yourself, and I agree. You know, no, we can't panic. We have to be that rock. We have to be that stone to where someone can step forward just in case there's danger. And that danger is that toilet. It may not sound like it is, but it can be. You know, let water run all over your floor and see what happens, okay? So one little crack can be a devastating problem, and that's in your household. So the thing is, I absolutely agree with you that men aren't really taught that piece, or better yet, just emotion, period. The only emotion we're taught is exhilaration. We won. Yeah. That's it. We know how it feels to win. Now, we don't know how to handle losing well, but we have to learn that, you know. So, yes. Oh, well, hold on. Let me get to the microphone.
What girls please? It's gonna be next.
No, go. I understand that point, and maybe, I don't know, it sounds weird because I'm young. But also the way that I see it too is that was a stream to teach, and then maybe, I don't know, when we change don't let the name say the emotions that do it. But also I think also that we became also two extremes, that the men are losing what is being a man. And is you were created in one way, especially for me, maybe my faith, maybe believe like that you need to become a man. And the standard right now is for men are very high. And sometimes even get married with women who make a lot of money, and so the men want to do that. The internet make them feel them like that they need to drive this car, they need to do that. They're very, very sedentary. Maybe before it used to be 22, and it was working on has a purpose, like you say. Now you see men 23, 25, they're still in the home, they don't have no purpose. So maybe I understand that, yeah, we didn't let it, and we were too strong, maybe too strong. But I think now we've been listening too much and baby too much, and we don't want to scream another. Like we don't let men be men to do what they're supposed to do. Sometimes women we are too strong and we don't even let the men to do it. So, yeah, I take that experience. I used to be so strong and I learned, and for a lot of years later, he told me one day, okay, you got tired to be a man? So now I think we change it too much. One thing our young kids have to do it, yes, come to me, get a pastor and that, but more than anything, like you say, get involved in the community. Don't be focused so much on yourself. And then you maybe not to focus on anything there, because I don't know, they're changing too much. That's my point.
So to just kind of expand on that, again, over the weekend, I mentioned something that was, I don't know how powerful it may be, but I pointed out that you can't be a queen without being in a kingdom. So meaning that there's this compound word called kingdom, okay? You're a king, but then you're in a dome, so he covers it. But if you have a queen without a king, all you have is a duchess or somebody that wants to be. So the issue is that when you start really talking about what is the concept of your home, money is a construct, okay? A lot of people take the position and take that home. Technically, your position is what you make of it in your home, but what you do outside your home doesn't necessarily reflect what's in your home. So it's, again, social media, internet, you know, it's unfortunate that the perception is, I make this money, I do this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, I'm a boss, blah, da, 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 da. And then you take it home to this man, and this man is saying, well, I do, so where are we? So there's this conflict, and the idea of comparison is tearing up the community. We're doing too much. I see somebody else getting A, B, C, D, How come I don't have that? Well, you might not get it, but the point is that are you believing that you're so at a high level that you're not doing anything to help reach it? And that's the whole point of a kingdom. A kingdom is built. It is not just done. It is a building. So if you build a kingdom with those individuals, then you reap the benefit of it. But if you come into a kingdom as that queen, then how can you really manage what you haven't helped build? And that begins a conflict with him. So it's a lot of things that we have gotten off track as a community, but the simplest thing to do is to clean the slate. Doesn't matter what you make. Yes, it does. Let me not say that. It does matter what you make outside of the house. It does. But the reality is that what does it mean in human currency? What does it mean about emotional currency? How are you expanding on that? What's the actual comparison in your home? What does that look like? And if what you have at home doesn't reflect anything that can actually sustain itself, you failed in your kingdom. Oh, one more, okay.
Yeah, Dr. Wall, my question is, we have this month, Men Wellness Month, Health Awareness Month, Mental Health Month, to talk about things in terms of mental health. And we look at men from yesterday, men of today, men of the future, and all the availability of, virtual appointments or in-person appointments. Why, from your view, do you think men still don't take that avenue to reach out to those sources?
So sources as it relates to learning to improve, or sources as in reaching back to pull forward?
Correct.
Okay. So again, we've turned into a selfish community. The society has only gotten into the me, me, me society. So it used to be prideful that back in the 60s that you built up not only your home, but you also built up who you had with you, your children. I have a old saying about, the meaning of life is to create something and you pass it on. Now it's I want, I got, and look at me. We've sort of matured, or not really matured, but evolved into what is social media standards of what does it mean about you, as opposed to what is it about what you've built or created. So children aren't I won't say that they're not valuable, but it all depends on the individual. So as it relates to, are we actually even thinking about being a couple to help these children? That's a struggle all in itself. So when you start looking at the reaching back, and you're talking about, men and women in general, it's there, but it becomes, unfortunately, the silent majority that aren't saying it anymore, because those that are the mighty minority are basically the view, and when they happen to come up and say, hey, we need to come together, the mighty minority shoots that off because it's all about them, and you need to look at me and look at what I'm doing, and it just completely depresses the unfortunate silent majority. So that's part of the problem. It's happening. Don't let it fool you. It is happening. It just depends on where. So if you're in that vein, you see it, and you get it, and you feel it, and you can talk about it. But how often do you hear it spoken nowadays? Not much.
Well, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Is that I work construction, and I also hire young black men and young black women in internship opportunities. And what I am seeing in my office, or when I'm engaging, I'm seeing more, I call them, it's almost like a role reversal to me. And I see a lot, I call them, I got girly boys and burly girls. Is that I find the boys very passive, very, do not exert themselves, looking for somebody to do something for them. Where I see the young ladies that I hire are highly aggressive. And so as a result is that, now I'm fine with the aggressiveness, but getting the boys up to that level has been a challenge. What should I do in order to at least level the playing field?
Wow. So that's a mouthful to begin with, because you're right. There has been a lot of role reversals that are going on, and unfortunately, to try to push the agenda, be a man, puts us right back into that same situation of depression, because you're giving or you're usurping a perception of what is a man. But that's where the definition is a problem. So my best suggestion is be the example. Be the one that says, okay, guys, this is it. Don't address how they feel or what they're looking like or how they do, but address showcasing what it means to take care of this business or take care of this, whatever you have to do in construction. If you're pouring concrete, what does that mean? Well, guys, this is what it means. You're going to get dirty, so come on with it. They get into a whole lot of, I don't want to get dirty. Well, then you don't want to pour concrete. So either we're going to find something or you're not going to do construction. Maybe, I don't want it to sound negative, but maybe you need to do hair or something. No, something a little softer. Again, I don't know. But the point is that no way or how can you go out in the hot sun, stay outside in that hot sun, and deal with it. Deal with materials that are concrete, wood, nails, machines, that can kill you, that can run over you, that can hit you. You take the wrong turn. That's a dangerous place. You may have a hard hat, but you don't have a hard body. You could die at a site. So there's too much going on to be worried about your nails and your shoes. So in any shape, form, or fashion, be that example. Just say, guys, come on over. Let's talk. Let's first get a huddle on what's going to happen today. And like I said, some may not necessarily want to do concrete. Some may want to do woodwork. Okay, well, go do woodwork. Some may want to do ironwork. Go do ironwork, and just find where they're best at. But not everybody, and I'll be the first one. I mean, I may be in the medical profession, but I'm not standing out in the sun for 9 hours, okay? That's just not my ministry. But some people, it might be, they might be. So my best suggestion, be the example to the men. Now, the ladies, on the other hand, if they're in construction, I'm not sure you have a lot of them, but I'm just saying, the ones that are, if that's their ministry, if that's their direction, hey, come on, let's get that machine and let's move this dirt. Let them do it. Go. Let them go. But keep in mind that there's something for everyone. Not everybody is going to be a plumber, an electrician, an airline stewardess, or I'm sorry if that was the wrong terminology, but or airplane pilot, or a surgeon, or a lawyer. Not everybody's going to do that. So pick your battle, pick your struggle to succeed. And if these ladies want to be in construction, cool.
Can I say one? You had a question?
Yes.
Okay, I want to say one thing though while I'm here. Huh?
They're worried about a woman.
Yeah, it's that.
Get that man a mic. Because he just started talking.
I talk to them about appearance and also talk to them about being able to make conscious decisions that will reveal in a construction site if you're not careful. And so what I have found when I'm talking to them is some of them have a real problem taking directions from an older black man. And so that's one of the things that I spend a lot of time working with them on, is saying that this is how, if you're going to work with us, this is how it is. You can stay or you can go. But if you go somewhere else, you're going to have the same problem if you don't address this issue.
So I go back to just the business model in itself. There's always a policy and procedure to fall back on. And I hate to say it, but some people aren't made to do construction. So if they're not made and you've identified that there's a problem, then you have to ask yourself, how far are you willing to hold someone's hand to finish a job when you got other people that are watching you try to hold somebody's hand through this, whatever you're trying to get them to do, and how do you expect them to respect you when you're not even letting them, this person, be respected for them not being a part of the team?
Wow. Okay, and I'm gonna go back to because I get excited when I'm thinking about what you mentioned about, and I'm saying women from a woman's perspective, and I think along all the lines of what you've said, I agree with everything that you're saying, and one of the things I had to learn was with my son, I had to let my husband be my son's father, even though he wasn't his biological father. Men and women and little girls and boys, they're both growing people, but they are different biologically and they have different needs. And so we have to acknowledge that. And as women, to what your point, when you say that the things that, when Mitchell wanted a car, and he was, he wanted to get a car. And so Edwin said, you can't change it. Chef Eddie said, you can't change a tire. And I'm thinking, well, that's mean. But but you know what he did? He took an ag class in Bel Air High School. And when he graduated, and when it was time for him to get that car, he could change not only the tire, he could do motors and do all kinds of stuff. He's like, I'll show you. But it took a man to challenge him, because I would have never thought of, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just saying, those are things that, because we don't always want, she talked about women being kind of soft with our boys, is where you were kind of going with that. And because we're loving on them, you can love on them, but I had to turn my head sometimes when he said something out of line, and Chef Eddie had to put him on the wall with his neck or whatever, or it would start working out. And I'm like, you still working out? He goes, I gotta be able to take them. We had 2 boys, and he said, I may not be able to take them, but they gotta think I can take them. You know what I'm saying? I'm being funny about it, but that was really a real life lesson for me to understand that women raising boys, not that if you don't have a husband, you still have to let them, you have to acknowledge that they may need a little bit something more than just loving on them, and put them and expose them to situations where those men or those situations are there so they can grow and be who they need to be. It's okay if we don't have all the answers as women with men. And it's the same thing. You're talking about being different and learning outside the home. See, you're right. They separated and took a lot of men out of the house. So a lot of us had to become superwomen. Charles, I'll never forget when, our sister, said, well, I'm raising boys and girls. I'm the man and the woman. Yeah. And the pastor had to tell her, sister, I love you. Yeah. But you're not the woman and the man. But I love you. I'm sure you're doing a good job. Right. And she stopped coming to the church. She was done. But over time, you can be a woman and raise boys. But you don't have to be their father. You're their mother, and that can be okay. So I'm just saying this to say that I acknowledge that and think the same thing about money in this age and being and then coming home. Mm-hmm. And understanding and appreciating, because you're right about that. The trash too. I don't even know when the trash man comes. You know what I'm saying? And we do that, and that's not necessarily fair either. But you're right. If some break, I just expect you to know how. And then he'll sit there and get the computer and try to figure it out. Because he think, and I'm proud of it. We sometimes end up in there together trying to, but those things that society put out there is I acknowledge that it's a lot for men, and I think that we as women need to realize and do what we can to be let's be that balance so that men can be okay with not being perfect and not being that Superman that the society tells them he has to be. That's just something I've learned over my many years of watching and growing with my husband. So, my 2 cents.
All right.
I feel like we should just end it there, because I'm learning just listening to Miss Davis. So I was going to ask, how do I support my fiance? Our wedding date is vastly approaching. But it seems like the closer we get to that day, it's like, a lot of challenges have been coming up and things like that. And so I want to be able to be a better partner to him, and And I was watching this reel on Facebook or whatever, and this guy was like, yeah, he was talking to his therapist, and he was like, yeah, I talked to Chat GPT, and, it encourages me, and it gives me all the, the things that I need. And his spouse was sitting there with him, and she's like, well, I don't do that? He's like, well, you don't tell me I do a good job. And I'm thinking, like, maybe that's, something that I need to do more of, and just appreciate him being who he is, as opposed to being whatever imagination I have in my head, So I just kind of wanted to know, how do I support him better?
So, first of all, congratulations for even stating and taking the time to want to continue the thing called marriage. Okay, so that by itself is a big deal. So don't ever let anyone tell you that it's not. But in support, as I pointed out, men don't always think about what they're thinking about that is so devastating that we want to put it on you. Okay, so we tend to hold on, and we at times don't feel like you might be able to handle it. What we don't need is, hey, you know what, I smell smoke, and then you go off the wall. Well, where's the smoke? And it's like, wait a minute, hold on. I said only I smell smoke. I didn't say the house is on fire, and what did you hear? So it goes back to specifically the one thing, it's communication, but we got 2 ears for a reason. The more you listen to what he's saying and how he's talking about what it is, the better he'll be able to communicate to you. You just pointed out something about GPT, and his lady, spouse, woman, whatever, was sitting right next to him. That's a clear indication that she's not listening to him. So he went to something that's a surrogate. He had a substitute. And although she might have a little attitude about it, the point is that how did you get there? What made him realize that I need that peace, P-E-A-C-E, from this P-I-E-C-E in my hand, okay? So this thing that is so important when you say, and you're just asking, and that's the first step, wanting to listen, wanting to help, wanting to be that person for him so that he doesn't have to go elsewhere. So that's why that's important, listening.
You also spoke of a safe place.
Right.
When a woman knows how to create a safe space for the man that she encounters, it becomes a whole lot easier. And when I counsel, I tell the individuals, y'all need a moment of truth. And what truth does is create a space to where I can speak truth and you don't take it personal, and you speak your truth and I don't take it personal because it comes from a place of love. But if you don't have a safe space to communicate, then what a man will do, he will start to internalize, and he may not say nothing because he don't want to hurt your feelings. And because I don't want to hurt your feelings, you keep piling on and piling on and piling on, and then when I explode, you don't understand where it's coming from. It's because I've never really been able to speak my truth. And when you allow safe spaces to speak truth, listen, I have one couple right now. If they were here, they would tell you when things are difficult or when something was said and that was not understanding, the first thing that they said is truth. And the partner says, okay, truth, because he knows or she knows that now comes how you really feel. And I can't sugarcoat it. You cannot sugarcoat it because if you never speak it all the way, then you never spoke any of the way.
So in the book, let me reflect back, I specifically talk about creating that safe space because it is so important to be able to speak your truth. You may not like it, but it's the truth of that person's either upbringing, their thought process, what they see it, how they interpret, how they understand, what they like, what they don't like. I mean, the list goes on. But to speak to the trigger word of truth, mine is more of a visual. So, and again, I don't want to get too much into it. You got to get the book. It specifically does speak to a way to visually define what is the safe space, or I call it the truth bubble, okay, to where you actually now have this time where you're really having to speak. But I also have a contract. And see, I do that to say that when a person signs their name on something, you do it at work, you can do it in your house. You sign a contract saying, these are the things I'm not going to do. And one of them is weaponizing what I just heard. So if I'm in a safe space or the truth bubble, and I'm actually telling you, hey, I threw away those socks, my bad. I didn't know they were those favorite socks you've had since 1972. And I'd had no idea. They just looked like they were tattered. I threw them away. Okay. Truth. All right, that's the truth. Okay, well, now I know. You can't come back later and go and pick something else up and say, well, I threw your socks away because you threw mine away. Time out. That's going against the contract. That's going against understanding that I'm holding you responsible for what you're saying. If you're telling me that you're not going to do, you're not going to reflect, you're not going to weaponize, if I'm going to believe that, then you can't act it out. So it's important that we start realizing that whatever problem, whatever that is, deal with that problem right then. Don't let that become another layer, and then another layer. Then before you know it, you springboard on, okay, well, I didn't like that you said that my feet look big. Well, wait a minute, hold on. Why are we talking about your feet are big? What? And then you go from 0 to 250 miles an hour attacking. You're like, hold on. I just said the feet didn't look like they were ready for that shoe. I didn't say that they were swollen and big. I just said they weren't ready for that shoe. Get a bigger size. Something as simple as that can be misconstrued as, you telling me my feet are big? No, I'm not saying your feet are big. I'm just saying that shoe is not your size. Right. So right there, it's important that we get into a methodology of whoever you're with. We establish that safe space, but we also work towards peace, P-E-A-C-E. We've got to have peace in our kingdom, because if we're not, we're fighting amongst each other. Who needs to fight us if we're fighting amongst ourselves? So we need to stop fighting amongst ourselves, in our homes, across the diaspora, and we need to start creating and uniting so that we can do strong and better things together.
That's good stuff. Okay, I want to, that's some great stuff. I mean, we're going to sell that. We're going to put this on, right? We're going to, right? Come up with a little commission thing on it, because that was really some good stuff. Man, you turned it out. Thank you, Dr. Ward. Y'all, let's give it up to him again. Oh my God, this has been so good. Y'all, everything will be ready to eat when everything's gonna be ready to eat. Come on, I want y'all to wear two things. We're gonna toast two birthdays. Letitia's birthday and Lauren, who Vanna is in the kitchen. Where is she? Her birthday is Saturday, and so we're gonna do that. But first, I want y'all to. Kim walked in here tonight. Y'all know Kim? Okay, I just want Kim to say hello, y'all. We got a celebrity in the house, and we're very grateful. So I want her to tell you who she is.
Well, I am so excited to be here. Hey, everybody, I'm Kim Roxie, Kimroxie, and I see Miss Bridget and her lovely husband in the house. Bridget has known me a long time. Kay Davis, just thank you for being a pillar to the community. This is like a safe space. Isn't this a safe space? And I'm the founder and CEO of Lamique Beauty. Lamique is the first Houston-made, black-owned makeup line to be on Ulta.com, Nordstrom, JCPenney. We just launched in JCPenney stores across Houston. Yes. TikTok shop, all that kind of good stuff. But I'm from Houston, from Harlem Clark. Okay, I know we over here in Sunnyside, so I know how y'all get down, but HC. So anyway, but I am just so excited because Healthy Greens, I've always been such a fan, mostly greens, of Chef, because, you know, with our products, it's all about like the ingredients and what's inside of it, because I don't know if y'all know, but 75% of beauty products marketed to women of color are toxic. And so, yes, so our products are paraben-free, talc-free, and it's makeup, right? And it's skincare. So I am here just to engage and just to be here, to be honest. I get the emails. Okay. Who else get the emails? I get the emails, and I was in town today. I said, I'm stopping by there today, and I just left for your WPO sisters. So thank you for having me, and bon appetit.
All right. Yeah, she shows up. When we had the George Floyd event, she just came out the sky. I don't know. She just shows up. And I appreciate you, Kim, for being who you are. And with that, we've given Chef time to eat back there, probably fix the whole meal. We have our salads. We're ready to start. What have you, so you guys can eat your salads. If we need to modify so people can eat on tables and things like that, we can do that. And we did want to, we got some, there's some, this is not alcoholic right here. There's none. So we want to open that up for those people who don't want something to drink. But we got some champagne and some wine and things like that. And even if you had water, we just wanted to toast Letitia. Tell Lauren to come out, please. So you want to pour something out? Anybody want Vanna Jr.? If they want some, they got cups. Or if they need cups, what have you? I don't know. We gave them some water earlier, so if they need cups, whatever. We just want to toast them. And the food is ready, y'all, so we're going to eat salads. Martinelli, yeah.
Yeah, this right.
There you go. How does it open the thing? Okay, okay. I get that one. Let me get that one. They want none. Somebody wants some non-alcoholic. This is Lauren.
Lauren.
This all, yeah.
Her birthday.
Yeah.
This is El Boogie.
Yeah, just so y'all know who Lauren is the executive director at K. Davis and the Community Foundation. And she's Vanna when she needs to be. She's making sure the showroom is set up when she needs to. She's calling y'all about y'all sponsorships when she needs to. Lauren she does her job, and I'm very excited to have her on staff. And Letitia is my executive assistant of all things, acting accountant when she needs to be, mother and fiance, as she announced tonight. We're not L'Oreal. I almost did it. Ariane. Her name is so similar to somebody else's. It's our new marketing person that we brought on. She's a young woman, but she's very good at what she does, and you're gonna see her all around. So, y'all ready to toast? Just who wants to do a toast? Who's gonna? Here.
See how y'all do?
I want y'all to come get your salads and
a little bit in here.
come in, whatever your pleasure is.
We got cocoa water.
It's water, guys.
Rosemary water.
Just hold your let's cheer. Let's.
3 waters.
Don't nobody want no olive oil. They gonna seriously say some olive oil. Okay. We got Martinelli and white wine, red wine, whatever. Whatever your pleasure. Water. Okay. All right. Let's toast. Why don't you feel like it? Y'all know my CPA is back there.
My finger got caught in.
Nelson, that's my CPA back there. You see those two people? Okay. When I write, let me introduce y'all. Nelson is my new friend at Rooms to Go. Okay. That's the sales guy. Just so y'all know who he is. You know, and he's helping us with some purchases and things like that. He is fantastic. And if you don't meet somebody every day and they show up at your stuff, like, when he said, what should I wear? I said, you come casual. Just, we're just here, and those people, James is my IT guy. Yeah. It's my son's best friend. He's been my IT guy for how many years? 22 years. It ain't every day. And almost as like, shoots, y'all, how long you been my accountant, Roy and Michelle? About that long, huh? Yeah, so it's been a while. You know, any money goes to anything. Sometimes they say, when Edwin and I went California, they said no, didn't they, Edwin? They said no, no, you don't want to invest in it. They said no a couple times on some things that we appreciate and we love them, and so glad you guys are here. And Pastor there, he's for you people that don't know, his church is across the street. So you get me? And let's not forget Long Dog. Okay, I know that's not Long Dog. Yeah, we call him that because when we did this, I guess at Thanksgiving, he was one. We've done it twice now. He's usually one of the persons in the class, and that was. I know that's wrong. So tell me what it is for real. The name. It's not Long Dog. It was what? It was Solo Dog. Yeah. We couldn't remember, so we started calling him Long Dog. But you see, we're a family, and don't forget Bernadine, my church member is what I call her. Miss Bernadine volunteers with us. She was over at the George Floyd event on Memorial Day, working her soul. She was, we really, really appreciate you. Vicky Pink, our photographer. You get me? Avery over there on the thing, and then let's not forget Rufus and our assistant here, Rosa. If you come to our Christmas parties or anything, you get me? So we're oh no, I said Avery. Oh, Avery's always on the camera, and he has been there for some years now. We do this thing, because we find honestly relationships that's how you. It's totally that's okay, priceless. You see, and we all connect different ways, but at the end of the day, or what have you, it's valuable. And we really, 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 really appreciate it. And as you can see, for Kim to show up, and she, this, they gave her a whole block on Black Wall Street. They gave her the land on, really. Now I'm really honest about that. And I think you got an office there. Yeah, she does, and it was given to her because she just deserved it. And for her to show up over here, what have you, tells you the power of relationship and friendship. And so you guys are in a very special club. So with that, we toast. Salute. All right. Anyone else that have anything to say? Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Where's the birthday song? You got the birthday song? Because we're going to shut it down. Where's Chef? He's back there making it happen. So the salads are out here. We're going to transition and start eating, and you guys can visit. And he's got turkey neck soup. I'm sure it's ready by now. All right. Woo-hoo. It's his original. And y'all get online and look at the Nourish and Flourish. Where's Chelsea? She leave? She and Lauren came up with the concept and the curriculum. And we got a little grant for it. And so we're moving forward. And we just thought we'd mix it with Trending Tuesdays and the whole concept of the blood type diet and all these things. And our expert was a part of this. We were at the area, and we just, honestly, it's just perfect. It just makes sense. You were just, we didn't even think of anybody else than you for this event, and it was perfect. Thank you all very much. And come, bon appetit. Is that what I need to say? All right. Okay. Okay. I enjoy you. Are you his wife? Okay. Say, oh. I was supposed to let you say it. What is it in Spanish?
Don't get to beat the sweet salads on the table, you guys.
Please enjoy.
Freshly roasted on a bed of spinach.
Enjoy.
With Dijon honey dressing, organic red walnuts, and